Andrew, thank you so much for being here on the All Bets Are Off podcast. And just to jump right back into the discussion we were having just a second ago, 3 matches in 2 days for you this weekend, including a title match, man. How you feeling?
I'm fine. I mean, I'm more tired from the travel than anything. I'm 58 years old. I'm not getting any fucking younger, and to be still doing this, it's just a pain in the ass, man. You know. So,
Well, I mean, you must have a deep love for what you do, right?
33, almost 34 years in this business. Yeah, I do. I do,
Yeah.
but I hate it at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship. You know how it is. You've
Yes,
been
I
in the
do
ring.
know. I do know. And I'll tell you, 15 years for me, and I know exactly what you're talking about. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, took its fucking toll on me, man. I mean, every time I go in the ring, look, dude, every time I get out of my car and walk to the fucking goddamn grocery store, little bits and pieces of me are falling off. Come on. Let's be real.
Well,
I
I
feel like I got
gotta.
internal leprosy, like my bones are just getting brittle and falling apart as I go. Lepers leave their pieces of their flesh on the ground. Mine are just like decaying from the inside out. You know, it's called arthritis.
Yeah, right. I mean, I gotta say though, it's crazy to even hear that because, not because of your longevity in the business, but because I just saw you 2 weekends ago, and you look
Hmm.
phenomenal, and you're always such a positive attitude, and you're so much fun to be around, so you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I try to hide the fact. When I get up, if you notice, when I get up off the chair at like conventions, I get up and I stand for a little bit because if I try to walk right away, I'd probably fall on the table and take out my merchandise.
Well, if you're gonna fall on anybody's table, let it be Joey Cassata.
Oh, I listen. I was going to fall on Steve Brown's.
I love it. Well, listen, so this might be a weird question for people who don't know why I'm asking it at this point, but we'll get to all
Okay.
that. What came first for you? Was it professional wrestling or music?
Music, music. I started. I used to bounce. I got out of when I got out of school. When I got out of college, I started bouncing on the weekends at local rock clubs in Jersey, like
Mm,
Rock the House, Wild Mike's,
hmm
the Rec Room. Um, what's the other places? Rock, the Rock Quarry,
hmm
and I would meet all these bands. And I was no stranger to like L'Amour's in Brooklyn and Queens, L'Amour's in Queens, and like Stone Pony,
hmm
going to places like that, seeing bands play, the Bottom Line, and Capitol Theater. So I was a big music fan growing up. And I had a couple of bands, and I played in a few bands, but it didn't pan out. There was no money in that at the time. I mean, it was
hmm
cool, but my first love was wrestling. So hold on, I got a pop up on my screen. It throws me off. You won't see it, but I will. Um, uh, but my first love was wrestling. So
hmm
everybody would always wonder whenever there was a fight in the bars and I was bouncing, I'd always wind up suplexing somebody. You know, so
Really?
they were like, "Hey man, were you a wrestler in the past?" No, but I'd love to be. And there I am one day, and Jimmy Snuka and the Metal Maniac come walking in the place,
Come on.
and yeah, and I was throwing a guy out, had him on the fireman's carry, and this was in 92, 93, and I throw the guy out, and next thing you know, I'm hooked and I'm pulled back. Jimmy goes, "I want to talk to you, brother." Next thing I know, I'm with Maniac, drinking with Jimmy, doing shots of Malibu, and 'cause that's what he drank. I mean, that was my listen. Worst hangover in my life was Malibu, Malibu rum. Fuck, it's like drinking freaking. It's like drinking a corn syrup with a splash of vodka in it. So
Yes, yes, I do.
fucking nasty hangovers from that shit.
Yeah.
So now I want to, learn how to wrestle at East Coast Pro Wrestling with Gino Caruso and Jerry Fazio, the one of the executioners, and Terry Manton. Jimmy
Mm,
Snuka would wind up coming in occasionally, getting in the ring with me, and then Jimmy would take me on the road. When the Metal Maniac wasn't on the road with him, I'd wind up driving
mm.
him around, and doing things like that. And eventually, I got full blown into the business, became Nikolai Volkov's tag team partner,
Hmm.
and it's all history from there on in. It was a
That's
good time,
incredible.
and yeah, it was just. But yeah, music came first because I wound up actually being a bodyguard for Peter Criss,
Hmm.
and at his when he had the Chris Cat One album came out, I wound up bodyguarding for him and driving him around New York on that tour that he had. I think his first
Mm-hmm.
manager was named Miller, Keith Miller or something like that. And I was driving them around and everything. I don't remember the manager's name, but I was driving around. And then they called me when they were doing the Bad Boys tour. And it's kind of funny because I don't think Peter remembered it until I jogged his memory recently. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"You hooked me up with Ace." He goes, "Yeah, how'd that go?" That was when Ace was alive. And he goes, "I'm sorry," you know. And we were talking. He goes, "Yeah, I do remember that." And then Ace said to Peter, we were at Creatures Fest in Nashville
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, and Ace says to Peter, he goes, "So I hear I inherited your abortion." You know, he looks at me and points at me. It was pretty fucking funny. So, but yeah, I want to, but I was friends with Ace from 1990. Before that,
Mm-hmm.
so I've been friends with Ace since 1990. We met at the China Club, and Ace would perform at a lot of venues in New York at the time, and and he had different bands going on. He had the house up there in I think it was Westchester or White Plains, and he had the lake in the yard, and would want to go fishing on a boat in the lake in his yard and
Mm-hmm.
shooting off guns in that yard. It was pretty fucking cool, and you know. And then he moved. He'd moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and over the years we lost touch a little bit. But then we got back. Would get back, and he was in Santa Clarita, California, and would want to have seen each other there at different shows. I'd wrestle. He'd come down, see me every now and again, and then
Mm-hmm.
would do conventions together. I'd sign, especially around 2008, 2000. Well, actually 2006 or five. Um, John Astronomy and Jimmy Crowley, his old bodyguard, brought us together, and I was never his bodyguard. I was his friend. You got to remember, Ace and I were tight.
Mm-hmm.
We were tight,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, COVID hits, and Ace moves to Jersey about 6 months before, and he's moving in with Lara, who's a childhood friend of mine, and we wound up hanging out all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And then he says, "Listen, I'm going to build a studio. Why don't you come down?" And I said, "All right." So I thought I was going to come down and hang out, and it was just me and Ace building the fucking studio. So I was like, "Gee, thanks." He goes, "Well, it's like a friend. If he asks a friend to move, you ain't going to want to. He'll all of a sudden find something he has to do because he doesn't want to pick up any fucking furniture." Well, I wound up doing that. I wound up picking up all his fucking furniture with him. So, and Ace gave new meaning to the word plumber's crack at the time. So he's up there doing the electric work, and his ass is in my face, his pants are drooping down, and and he's doing the electrical work. Or when I'm doing the sheetrock with one of his buddies, Jeff Hernandez, who Jeff Hernandez is he's a Mr. Fix, he's a regular Bob Vila. He was an extremely loyal friend to Ace, good friend,
Mm-hmm.
and riding buddy of Ace's, and wound up being a riding buddy of mine. And Jeff is had a heart of gold too. He's still around. God,
Yeah.
God bless his soul, man, because he was such a good friend to Ace when Ace needed him. And Jeff and I built that studio with my buddy Tim, with Ace, uh, where a lot of 10,000 Volts was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Ace and I wrote a lot of songs together. Fuck, I do the lyrics, he'd jam stuff, asked me to write some lyrics, I scribbled some lyrics down. We had a good time, man. And we had a great relationship. Like, we'd go out I'm going to send you the video. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
add it to your link, I'll send you the video from my birthday parties, and stuff. His birthday parties would go out for sushi. Some asshole took my fishing videos that I posted with Ace, and he made a
Mm-hmm.
fucking web page called Fishing with Frehley, you know? And he
Really?
posted some stupid shit up there, and AI'd some of the stuff, like Ace pulling a mermaid out of the water instead of the
Oh,
fucking little
jeez.
sunfish. Ace, you would have thought Ace was fighting a shark. I thought he had a fucking hammerhead shark in the end of his line. He pulled up a 4-inch sunfish, and he's like, "That motherfucker gave me a fight." I was like, "Ace," I was like, "I think you wanted it to give you a fight. You were playing around like Flint and Jaws over there. I was ready to strap you in the chair. You know."
Yeah. Oh my God, I love the Ace impressions.
Oh yeah, when you've been around the man for so fucking long, the best. The
Yeah.
best is when he looks at somebody and goes, "Fucking idiot." That was when he called people, you fucking idiot." You know.
You know,
So
I gotta say too how full circle things come because, I come to the New Jersey HorrorCon and I'm hearing your stories here. Meanwhile, Peter Criss is there. Steve Brown is there, Joey Cassata is there, and you have history
Yep.
with all of these guys and everything ties back to Ace, and those guys tie in with Ace right up to 10,000
Listen,
volts.
I know Steve since Steve was a little kid. We were both little kids together, and we were really. I grew up. My house that I had, my 5 family house, was PJ Farley's grandma lived in the basement.
Oh my
So
God, that's
PJ's
great.
grandmother. So that's how I knew PJ. So I
Yeah.
knew PJ my whole childhood, and never. And then when he became a member of Trixter, I had no fucking clue that was PJ. You know.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was too fucked up to realize anything, you know? I was always
Yeah.
fucking drunk or high or fucking wired on fucking blow.
Well, so let's and this has nothing to do with you saying blow, but let's get back to wrestling really quick.
Yeah.
Because so now that you tied in like why I asked you about the music and the wrestling at the same time here, so you're on the road now. You did your training and things like that. So when you first get out there, what was the hardest lesson that you had to learn about the wrestling business when you actually broke into the business beyond training?
How to slow it down. How to slow it
Mm.
down. I was too fucking fast in the ring. Everything I want to do, bam, bam, bam. I was that proverbial kid that now I get in the ring with. Like this weekend, I got in the ring with somebody, and it was like, dude, slow the fuck down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Mm-hmm.
slow down. I was, and the first kid that I worked was really green. He was about a year and a half in the business. I tell the dude, slow down. You know, you're going 0 to 60, and you know, I can't fault the kid because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
everybody who breaks into business is there. You got nerves. You're working a veteran, a guy who's been around the block a few times, and a few times more, and a few times more after that, and a few times. God, I'm fucking old. But you know, you get in a ring with somebody like that, with me, and with somebody like me, and you know, it's like being on a roller coaster. You think you're gonna die, but you don't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just from fucking. That's from the first time you meet me, you see me, and I think I'm a lot bigger than people realize I am. You know, I think I'm a
Mm-hmm.
lot bigger
Mm-hmm.
than I think I am. So, but I mean, he's just this kid was like fucking nervous. So he was me 30 some odd years ago, and I think it took me about the first 4 years in the business to learn how to slow down. And it was
Mm-hmm.
my timing was always off. I was out there and and I knew I knew I was going so fast. It was nerves. I think that the first thing I had to do was calm my nerves. That was the first obstacle, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
first
Well,
learning curve.
with being said, then, what would you say as far as the early '90s to now is the biggest difference in the wrestling scene from then to now that you've noticed in 30 something years?
Oh, now there's 1.5 million indie promotions.
Mm.
Now there's lack of psychology. There is such lack of psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and every finisher that I've ever done that was a finisher is a fucking change of heat spot, or
Mm.
the 25th change of heat spot in a match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody kicks out of every big move, and to me that it the substance, it lacks substance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh,
Yes.
with the exception of like a Roman Reigns or a Brock
Mm-hmm.
Lesnar or an Obafemi, where you see the big guys that hit each other and they get out to make one guy look like Superman. I get it, but you got these little cruiserweights that are kicking out of every single fucking move. I just
Mm-hmm.
can't fathom that. You know what I'm saying? I just can't
Yeah.
fathom that. That takes the realism and flushes it down the fucking toilet. If you
Mm-hmm.
hit me with a DDT, I was out. My head hits the fucking pavement. That was it. I remember when
Yeah.
Jake the Snake DDT'd Ricky Steamboat on the concrete. They took him out in a stretcher.
Yes,
You
they did.
know,
Yeah.
now they
Yeah.
don't do that shit anymore.
Yeah. So when you find yourself in that situation, when you're in there with somebody who's been wrestling that way, is that a moment that you take to like this is a teachable moment and get back to the storyline of things,
I
or how do you
try to.
adapt?
I
Mm-hmm.
try to most of the time because I can't compete at that super fast level like they do now.
Mm-hmm.
So I throw the guy out of the ring and just beat the shit out of him. So that's what I do. You know, that's all I do. That's and they look at me. They go, "Oh, I thought we were gonna do this and this." Hey, that's all I got left. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
or like Kevin Sullivan used to do, and Kevin was like my dad in the business. He broke me in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he took care of me for almost 25 years of my 33,
Oh
and
wow.
and Kevin towards the end of his career, Kevin would just jump on somebody's stomach, pick him up, throw him out of the ring, pop him in the face a few times, choke him. use the ropes, throw him out of the ring, guardrail him, and then use
Yeah.
a little shiv and a little makeshift gimmick and just throw him, jab him in the throat. Abdullah had the same thing, did the fork. I mean, Abdullah made a career of it, but later on, that's basically all they had at that point, and that's basically what I
Yeah.
do now. I carry around Kevin's golden spike and I spike people. If the show allows blood, I'll make them bleed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or I get my comeuppance and I bleed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been no
Mm-hmm.
stranger to blood. So look at my
So
forehead, man. Looks like a fucking roadmap.
So what would you say?
I think that's Albuquerque, New Mexico, right there.
So what would you say personally for you, like just thinking back on your whole career, is a match that, say, you're most proud of?
Myself, any match I did with Crowbar.
Okay.
Any match I did with Crowbar. Crowbar was the one guy who brought the best out of me. Crowbar always brought the best out of me. Crowbar always pulled everything out. When I would get lazy, he'd say, "Let's go, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
The other one too, who would bring the best out of me, was the Barbarian. Barbarian
Oh,
and Warlord. Warlord was a lot more easygoing, but Barb
yeah.
would make me fucking work. Barb would make
Yeah.
me work, and
Mm-hmm.
then just teaming with Barbarian and working against him in singles matches. It was always a learning curve. I mean, Barb is still in great shape.
Yeah.
He's in his mid-60s and he could still fucking do shit. He's a great guy. I mean, he slowed down a lot too, but he brought out the best in me. Barbarian, and who else would I say? Fuck, the list can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I had some great matches with Test. When
Okay.
Test first came out of WWE and went back on the Indies, he worked with me a lot. I mean, he could be a
Mm-hmm.
dick sometimes. I mean, but he was a big dude. But we had some really good matches. So Andrew Martin,
That's
Test,
cool.
I had some good matches. I mean, I didn't like him as a person, but I liked the shit he pulled out of my ass. In
Yeah. Yeah.
that fucking 15-20 minute time period.
I like that you brought up Warlord and Barbarian because I've worked against them a few years
Mm-hmm.
back, and Barbarian, exactly what you just said, he still wants to go, and
Mm-hmm.
those are some big boys, and they're strong, man, and they definitely they're great teachers without saying a word, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the guys that you look and you listen. I wrestled a lot against Demolition. I wrestled
Mm,
Billy Eady a lot. That's why when I did the St. Louis Fan Fest and I walked in the elevator, me, Karen, the puppy, you met Bailey, so
mm-hmm,
my puppy Bailey and everything, and we walked in and Billy and Barry just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, and
mm-hmm.
we got in there and Billy Eady looks at me and goes, "Drew, I was thinking about you the other night." He goes, "I was watching The Wrestler." He goes, "Man," he goes, "that thing really put you on the map." He goes, "I said years ago before that happened, you should have got a big push by Vince." He goes, "You never did." And he said, he goes, "But that movie really put you on the map." He goes, "I'm proud of you." And to hear that
That's
from the fucking legendary fucking mass superstar Demolition Axe himself made me feel fucking good. You know,
Yeah, no,
there's
that's
times in
cool.
my career where I feel like I wasted a lot of my life in
Mm-hmm,
wrestling. I mean, my two daughters don't speak to me, so my youngest speaks to me, my oldest will not, and it kind of runs parallel because of all the drugs, the alcohol. I was a shitty husband to my ex-wives, but then they weren't exactly good to me either. So, but it was a lot of it was because I wasn't a good human being a lot, like
mm-hmm,
with the infidelities and the drug abuse and substance abuse. It was just it was bad. But
mm-hmm.
I got a great woman now. She's beautiful, drop dead gorgeous, perfect 10 to me, and everything I've ever fucking wanted in my life. And I got it now, and I've been happy ever since I
Mm-hmm.
fucking met her. And clean and sober and everything. I still drink alcohol, but don't touch anything else. I don't even smoke a joint.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool that
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
done that. Can we talk about the wrestler for a little bit here?
sure.
Just
Whatever you want to talk about.
how that all came to be and what it truly did for you in the long run of things. I just want to hear your story on that.
Well, I got a call. I was doing an indie show, and I don't know if you're familiar with East Coast Pro Wrestling and Gino Caruso.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, Gino's mom just passed away, or was in the nursing home and really sick,
Mm-hmm.
and he called me to run the locker room on one of his shows. So I came down. I ran the locker room on one of his shows, and I wanted to have a match. I don't know who was against, but I ran through the crowd, swinging 16-foot steel chain, like a propeller. Chasing. I said, I know what I think. Fuck these people. Well, first of all, I think Gino's not there. He's the promoter, so what the fuck? I'm going to do it. So he wouldn't let me do it. So I ran and chased everybody through the crowd. Everybody through the fucking crowd. Like it was Japan 1980 and I was broke. So chased everybody through the fucking crowd. And I stopped. I saw Evan Ginsberg sitting with some guy. I don't know who the fuck that was. I was sitting with some guy. And Evan winks at me, and I said hello to him back. I knew who Evan was. And I turn around, go back to the crowd, do my match, come back to the locker room. Next day, I get a phone call from Evan. He goes, somebody's going to be giving you a call. He goes, for a movie with Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, okay. He goes, they were really impressed with you. I said, who? He goes, don't worry about it. Next thing I know, Gino Caruso calls me up and says, we're going on an audition. He goes, Evan Ginsberg called me up. We're going on an audition. So myself, Gino, a couple other guys get in the car, drive to Brooklyn, go on this audition. I'm reading the thing. It's for a wrestling movie with Nicolas Cage. So I read my lines. I had no idea the director was Darren Aronofsky, who was already famous for a bunch of shit, and I had no idea who he was. And I read all these lines, and there was Necro Butcher, and Pope was there, and a couple other people. And they told me, they said, yeah. I walked out. The guy said, you got it. You're in the movie. And I was supposed to play Lex Lethal, which was the steroid dealer to Mickey Rourke. Yeah. They called me up and they brought me in the thing, gave me the script, said you're playing yourself. And they gave me these lines, and I went in there. I filmed it up in it was in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, at a place called, I think it was the Eagle's Nest or something like that, or the Eagle's Nest. It was in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, Long Gone building. And I did my scenes. I was supposed to wrestle. I had a match against some guy, a local fat redheaded guy named Brawley. So I had a match against him, and I couldn't really do much because my knee was all taped up, and it was really, really in bad shape. I tore my ACL like 2 months before, and I did that, and so the match was scrapped. I don't think they even used any of the footage of it, but I was in there and they had me play myself, and I aced all the lines that I had, and they credit me as Andrew Anderson, and they put me as a technical advisor. I wound up doing some stuff with Mickey, training with Mickey, which was cool. And it was really cool. I was in the ring with Mickey, doing some things there beforehand. And Alpha Senior, God rest his soul, him and his WXW, they trained him for the most part with an Israeli Mossad guy who was his stunt guy and did all this stuff. And then Armand, who wrestled as Kid USA, played his stunt double for Mickey Rourke. And I played myself in the movie. And Mickey came over to me and said, dude, kid, you did great. And then Darren Aronofsky, the funny part was we're both taking a leak together. And he comes over me, looks over me. I think he's going to look at me. I said, he's not looking at my dick, is he? No. But he looks over me, he goes, man, you got a great career ahead of you. He goes, I'll do anything I can to help you.
Wow.
And then he did. Him and Mickey Rourke called me, and I did auditions for Iron Man 2. And, then I got Skittles commercials, Super Bowl Doritos commercial. I think I showed you that one. I don't know if I did,
Yeah.
But I did that, and I did Cold Criss pharmaceutical commercials. I did a shitload of freaking arthritis pain creams and a lot of print ads. And I just remember walking in. When I was a kid, when you drive out of the Lincoln Tunnel into Manhattan, the first thing you see is this big building. It always has a big billboard on it. Well, in the 1980s and early 90s, it was Dwight Gooden. Doc Gooden was their pitcher for the Mets. He was a giant billboard painting or whatever of Doc Gooden. I drove out of the Lincoln Tunnel in 2008, and lo and behold, there I am on the fucking giant billboard holding a bag of Skittles in a fucking back break that says, don't suplex the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
Wow. So
I took fucking pictures of that with it in the background, everything. I was all excited. Then I go downtown, and the way they put like newspapering and ads all over the sides of buildings. There were thousands of my Skittles all over the place on the side of a fucking building, like wallpaper where they're doing this. It was just the fucking coolest shit. And I was like, wow, that's fucking great.
That's amazing.
Then came the Doritos commercial. So it was really cool. It was really cool,
That's awesome.
and it was just so fucking cool, So
And it
that was
comes
one
out
of
of
the
nowhere.
coolest.
It sounds like.
Yeah, it came from the movie The Wrestler. I was ready to quit at that time. I had a torn ACL. I was depressed. It
Yeah.
just happened right after I met Darren and everything, and I found out that I was told the whole time I was filming this movie. I was like, Mickey Rourke is in it. What happened to fucking to Nicolas Cage? They were like, Nicolas Cage didn't want to do it. He gave it to Darren. I gave it. Darren said he gave it to Mickey or something. I don't really know the on. I still don't really remember what happened. Somebody told me it, but I can't remember it. Too many
Yeah.
fucking chair shots and too many fucking late nights with Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about guys like that, I got to ask. So, who was somebody who back then, when you first started, would you say was like a really good guide for you throughout the business when you were still pretty green?
When I first broke in, Jimmy Snuka would have long conversations with me about stuff,
Hmm.
and Nikolai Volkov would always try to keep me on a straight and narrow.
Hmm.
My relationship with Brutus Beefcake now it's very strained, a
Hmm.
lot due to his wife, and but I'm not friends with him anymore. I mean, I think we were more of a toxic relationship because of the drugs.
Gotcha.
He would constantly get fucked up, and I would wind up getting fucked up with him and everything. He could say whatever he wants, but he was a bad catalyst to my life. But at the same time, he was a good influence on my life because he brought me and introduced me to a lot of people and helped my career grow and flourish. You
Hmm.
know, and Greg Valentine, to the day I die, I'll say, Greg, you're one of the best guys in the business and heart of gold, and one of the greatest guys that ever lived in the wrestling business to me. So he'll always be one of my best friends in the business. You know,
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Greg has helped me so much. You know what I'm saying? Greg too has a strained relationship with Brutus's wife.
Mm.
So
Mm.
and but I think everybody does pretty much at one point or another. She likes to bash people left and right. There's something wrong with her. But and then you got other people in the business like Kevin Sullivan was also, like I said, from day one, he's been one of the most influential guys in my career, and I
Yeah.
was a huge fan of his growing up. So to have Kevin there with me, and Kevin to put Mark Lewin's original Purple Haze robe on me as the new Purple Haze in 2019, that was
Mm.
huge.
That's awesome. That's
That was
so cool,
fucking
man.
huge, and
Yeah.
so there was a lot of real. There were a lot of guys really. Barbarian, like I said, Barbarian was a really good friend and really was influential in my career.
Hmm.
Uh, Sean Morley, Val Venus, another good
Yeah.
guy. I was on a lot of tours with him and stuff. Great guy. Warlord, always Warlord. Bill Eadie,
Hmm.
and more so Bill than Barry. I was in the ring a lot with Bill over the years. He taught me a lot. Taught me the
Hmm.
do's and don'ts.
Hmm.
A lot of the etiquette. Gino Caruso, Mr. Italy. I was one of my rookie years, my formative years. He was a guiding light to me.
Hmm.
Um, my friendship with Captain Lou Albano was also great. He was probably one of my first managers. You
Hmm.
know, and Roddy Piper and Hot Rod. I can't say enough about Roddy. Roddy was so good to me. So good to me. Took me under his
Yeah.
wing, managed me on a shitload of shows, and we were going to do a lot of stuff together. And then he passed away. You know,
Wow.
so
Well, I mean, with the who's who of wrestling that you just named right there, would you say that those were kind of your biggest inspirations before you got into the business too?
before I got into the business, my three biggest inspirations were Don Morocco,
Mm.
Terry Funk, Ric Flair.
Mm.
I could say Bruiser Brody also, and Stan Hansen.
Hmm.
Terry Gordy, Kevin Sullivan. Who else? Mark Lewin, Steve Williams, Dr. Death.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
they were all guys that I thought Steiners to be wrestling Scotty Steiner.
Yeah.
Wrestling Scotty. I wrestled Scotty. I wrestled the Steiner brothers tons of times, and my tag team partner every night was Vader. Me and Vader
Oh
against the
wow.
Steiners, and it's the shit that sucked for me was I'd be the one taking all the suplexes, so Vader would get pissed at me the next night because he wound up taking suplexes too because he's like, "Kid, I can't let you outshine me," So he wound up getting thrown around by the Steiners too. So
I love that. That's
So,
funny. All right, so let me take a quick swerve here back to music because I'm going to kind of jump back and forth, and I'm curious as
mhm.
to you already mentioned growing up with Steve and PJ of Trixter, and we already mentioned Joey and Peter and Ace. But who are your favorite bands growing up?
uh, I was eclectic. My first introduction to music was probably like most people my age, the Monkees. You know,
Mm, yeah.
they it was the Monkees. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that just Mickey Dolenz is still alive. And
Mm-hmm,
the
yeah.
other ones are gone. I had the opportunity to meet Mike Nesmith and Peter Tork, and Davy Jones, Chiller Theater, and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of great guys. They were all great. But musically, the landscape changed when my friend Jimmy Blanky, who just passed away 2 weeks ago, brought over Kiss Alive. The
Yeah.
landscape changed. It changed for me, and that was it. And I was hooked on Kiss from then on in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Led Zeppelin. I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah.
To me, Led Zeppelin is the greatest rock and roll band of all time, with the Rolling Stones, the two greatest
Mm,
rock and roll bands of all time. You know, uh, Deep Purple. I love Deep Purple. Love Ian Gillan. I love David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, but I love Ian Gillan. The man was so
yeah.
versatile, from Jesus Christ Superstar all the way to his own band Gillan, to the Ian Gillan band, to
Mm-hmm.
Gillan. I mean, from being super metal to being hard rock to being like folkish type of rock, bluegrass. He can do anything. The guy can do anything. He was just great. And
Yeah.
so I was a massive Alice Cooper fan. So when
Oh yeah.
Ace started touring with Alice, to bring me back and meet Alice and Alice's wife and his manager and everybody and his road manager, and it was just fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Nina, and
Yeah.
Strauss and fucking this whole band. And then we'll all wind up at the Golden Tiki in Vegas partying afterwards, which is fucking my favorite bar on the planet. Anybody in Las Vegas, not on the beaten path, it's off the strip, but it's a place called the Golden Tiki. As me and John Astronomy would get drunk, back when he used to drink and I used to drink, we'd call it get drunk, called the Golden Peepee. So we'd be
That's
fucking
cool, man.
blasted out of our minds. Where we going? We're going to the Golden Peepee. So
Well,
and
it's
I'd be
cool
there. I'd
that.
be there I'd be there with Ryan Spencer Cook
Oh yeah.
and you know the rest of the guys from the not well Jeremy never really went out, but Ryan would go out. We'd all be there hanging out at the
Mm-hmm.
Golden Tiki in Vegas, and Alice Cooper's band would be there. A lot of the guys
Yeah.
from there, So
That's great,
but
man. I love Ryan. Ryan's a very good friend of mine. I can't say enough good
Ryan
things about
Roxy,
Ryan Cook.
Ryan Roxy would be there all the time too, which was really
Oh,
awesome. So he's a
that's
nice
cool.
guy too. So
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's kind of like this full circle thing because you just said you got Kiss Alive, changed the game. All of a sudden, Peter and you're working with him, and then Ace and you're super good friends with him. So, which leads me to my next question: is give me your favorite Ace story.
my favorite Ace story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple. I'll give you two.
Okay.
All right. One, Karen and I are with him at Children's which he's doing a sign. And Ace said to me, he goes, I don't want you to sign. I don't want you to do your thing. I want you to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with Ace the whole time. So I was there. I was there as his bodyguard, not as a guest. So people are coming up to me, asking me to sign stuff. They'd bring stuff for Ace, and they'd bring stuff for me to sign. And Ace would give me the wink like that all the time. So I'd sign a DVD of the wrestler, and he'd sign tons of his shit, and he'd be like, hey, throw him a couple of bucks. He signed something. So they'd make the guys pay me on the side. So, because I guess they thought that since they paid for the super ticket or whatever for Ace, that they could just get a free DVD signed of the wrestler or a picture from me in a magazine or something signed. So, but Ace would make sure I got paid for that, which was funny.
Oh my
But the
God,
funny
that's
part
great.
was this guy, this huge. God forgive me, but he was a huge fat guy. Must have been about 450, 500 pounds. Comes walking in with a fucking old lady, a shopping cart.
Yeah.
One of those old lady ones the old bag ladies use, and it was filled with merch. And he's signed it. Ace is signed it. Ace is signed. It's holding up the whole fucking line. And then the guy turns around. He looks at my fiance Karen and looks and goes against her. She goes, You see the size of that fucking guy? And then Karen looks over at Ace and goes, Ace, he's fat, not deaf.
I love that.
And Ace just goes, it was fucking great. It was great. It was great. Then another time, we're putting the carpet into the drum room. We carpeted all the warm from this studio. So we're in the thing, and Ace is on his knees, and he's kicking the carpet thing, and kicking in the thing, and he's like, I don't want you to do it, Andrew. I know your knees are fucked up. And he goes, my head is just fucked up, so my knees are okay. So he's kicking it in, and he's putting the carpet in. And he looks over, he stops dead. I thought something was wrong, that he hurt his knee. He looks at me, straight face, like, I know angry Ace, I know puzzled Ace, I know befuddled Ace, and I know happy Ace. This was a face I never saw before. He looks at me like, I go, what's wrong? He goes, what do you think Gene would say if he saw me doing this? I look at him and I go, he'd say, hire somebody, you fucking idiot. He goes, that's exactly what I am. I'm a fucking idiot, but I'm a hands-on motherfucker. He goes like that. He goes, I like doing this shit myself. And he knew, listen to me, the truth about Ace Frehley is this. People thought he was like tipsy all the time. He wasn't. He was always like, his balance was never the best. That was who he was. He was never going to fall down. I would even get worried sometimes he was falling down or something like that, but he wasn't. That's just the way he was. That was his walk, his stature. But the man was a fucking genius.
Yeah.
He had a fucking super high IQ. He knew a little bit about everything and a lot about everything. So when I would say he would know a little, certain things he would know a little about, but he knew a lot of everything in general. He knew so much. The man was truly from outer space. He was definitely ahead of his time, and he knew he was just so fucking intelligent. You can have conversations with him about World War II, Mozart. You can have conversations about politics. You can have conversations with him about religion, about space, astronomy, anything. And I don't mean John astronomy. Those conversations were totally different. But we had some great conversations, and the stuff was, I mean, he would always say to me, he would tell me, Andrew, slow down with the fucking women. You're going to fucking blow yourself out of the fucking water. And he kept saying to me, when are you going to just find one girl? When are you going to find one girl? I found my one girl. I found her. I'm happy. And he was happy for me, man. He was fucking happy for me. He was the one guy who was always in my corner, that I found somebody. Because he was always afraid. And he was always afraid. He'd tell me to stop wrestling. He kept saying to me, he goes, I'm afraid you're going to be crippled. He goes, and we'd be walking through Home Depot all the time. And he looks over with the fucking scooters. He goes, hey, I don't want that to be your next fucking wheels. He said it deadpan seriously. And he gives me a hug. He gives me a kiss on the top of the head. He goes, I love you. I'm saying that because I love you. And it was I had that relationship. That's why I cried like a fucking baby for fucking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I lost my pal.
Yep. I totally get that,
lost
man.
My brother.
I totally get that. Man,
In the span of 1 year, I lost my mentor, Kevin Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
I lost Ace. I lost the icon Ozzy, who never met. Wish I did. And it was just so fucking. I lost my friend Hogan, Terry. Mm-hmm. I lost Terry. So it was hard. It's been a hard fucking road the past year and a half.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
Man, I am sorry for all of that loss, but I have to say this on a good note because Ace is amazing, and I got to be around him a handful of times and experience who Ace was for myself, which as a Kiss fan and friends with all of you guys and Joey and Steve and everybody.
He loved Joey and Steve.
Yeah,
he loved Joey and Steve. All that shit went down with Steve. I don't really know what it was about. He loved Steve. He did. And he was really grateful that album went fucking goddamn fucking through the roof. That was one of the highlights. Before he died, his shit went through the roof, and got everybody else got a laugh. That That got everybody else knows that he did it all on his own, with
Yeah.
Steve's help, and
Yeah.
Steve will tell you this. I am the catalyst that put them together. I
Mm.
am the catalyst to put them together because we were at the KISS event in Nashville,
Yeah.
and was it Preacher Fest, and
Mm.
I told Ace, I said, listen, Steve wants to see, he hasn't seen you in a long time. He put them together. I said, let's do something together. He wants to do something with you. I talked to him, and then Lara came in on it. We all talked to him, and next thing you know, I'm bringing Ace to the cutting room in Manhattan, and he did that band Rubik's Cube. Ace got on deck with them at the cutting room, played like 4 or 5 songs. Has played rock and roll night in a long time. We Ace did a couple of run-throughs in the studio before we left. Went out, Ace played it like a fucking champ. Did the show, and next thing you know, he took all the songs that were written, that were put together, and he made 10,000 volts.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was really cool. That was
That's
really
awesome.
cool. And I was happy for Steve because that was a great shot in the arm for Steve, because Steve's been a huge KISS fan. Steve's a great guy.
He is.
And Joey played drums on the album. Joey's a fucking goddamn saint. I love that guy. He's a good father. Joey is a great fucking role model.
Yes.
He's a pain in the fucking ass. He's a pain in the fucking ass. But I love him.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, I do know. Yes, I do.
The best is when I know you know that. The best is when he walks up to what's his name? What's the dude's name? Fuck, I can't even calls him Rice Frehley from the KISS cover band. He called him the Asian kid. Calls him Rice Frehley. I was dying. Dude, I was dying. I was like, dude, we were all fucking laughing. I was like, fucking, that's hysterical. I don't know if you want to edit that from the podcast, but, I
think we could leave that.
Yeah, let's leave it. Yeah, it'll be our Joey Cassata moment.
Yeah, right. Well, I got to say, man, like, I want to end this on a really good note like that. We're talking about Ace and Joey and you and Steve and everybody. So give everybody your social media, and that way they can follow you, see where you're appearing next and everything that you got going on. And thank you so much for being here, man. This was a lot of fun.
Well, on Instagram, it's Drew the Wrestler. Or it's Andrew the Reinforcer. I don't know all this shit. I'm not computer literate. Andrew the Reinforcer Anderson, Drew the Wrestler. It's either on Instagram or whatever. Andrew Anderson and the Reinforcer Anderson is one of my Facebook fan pages. Andrew Anderson is another Facebook fan page. You'll see a picture of me and Ace both wearing leather jackets on that. And then Ace bought me that leather blazer that I had on in that picture, by the way. So I have that thing. I love it. And then the other was Andrew Anderson. It's my personal page. It's got a picture of me and Karen on it, and so you can see us from there. And, we got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to be at the Gathering in Charlotte, North Carolina in the end of July. August, July 11th, I'm going to be in Gulf State Wrestling, Louisiana, Morgan City, Louisiana. And Morgantown, Louisiana. I'm sorry. Morgan City Auditorium, Louisiana. Gulf State Wrestling. Myself and my old tag team. One more time in the ring, trying to get a shot at the Gulf State Gold. Was for a long time Louisiana champion, so a lot of good stuff down there. I love the old territories. I wish they were still. I also have a bunch of other stuff going on, but I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't remember. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll share some stuff with you, and if you can post it out, if anyone has questions, you can share everything with them. So
absolutely. Yep, I can absolutely do that, man.
So yeah, man, and I'm glad we connected, bro. I'm glad we connected. Me and you hit it off right away.
Immediately.
So
immediately.
I'm just shocked. Yeah. I'm just shocked we haven't met, and you've been around 15 years. So
yeah,
I'm shocked we haven't met.
Yep,
so,
I thought the same thing,
man,
but
sometimes life works strange ways, man. But you made a friend in life with me, man.
And I appreciate it very much.
Steve, Joey are like brothers to me, and fucking a shout out to Dale Torborg, who's at the Gene Simmons,
Yeah.
the Gene and Paul's thing, Songwriters Hall of Fame. Shout out to Gene and Paul. Congratulations. And my shout out is a shout out loud to Dale. Thanks for being pal. You know?
I love
So,
it, man. Love it.
but
Andrew, thank you so
yeah,
much,
man.
brother. Seriously.
Anytime you want me back, I got a lot more stories to share for you. I got a lot of memorabilia. I got a bunch of stuff Ace gave me, guitars and stuff like that, and show off. You know, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yes,
You know?
we will absolutely do
Maybe
it
I'll
again,
plug
100%.
in. Maybe I'll plug in and jam on here for you. It'll be a little sloppy, but you know, so that'll be
Yeah,
cool.
man, I love it. That'd be awesome.
Thank you so much, brother. Oh, look at I'm
Dude,
wearing,
thank
by
you.
the way. I'm right there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I saw those at the con. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, a guy gave it to me at the con. He was like, "Yeah, this is for you." He goes, "I gave it to all the bassist bodyguards." I was like, "I wanted them all to have it," and I thought that was really fucking cool.
Yes,
You know,
100%. Those are awesome.
Ace was buried with the original. I was there. I saw it.
Mm.
And you know what? I want to tell you the one closing moment. You and me, our generation's Beatles was Kiss, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That was our generation's Beatles. When I was at Ace's viewing for the funeral, at the viewing, staying there, Doc McGee, John Astronomy, Ace's tour manager, Ace's whole band. Steve was right next to me. Steve actually had his own. Steve and Joey had their arms around me because I was so upset.
Yeah.
Me and Karen were sitting right behind Gene, and Gene was sitting next to Paul, and in front of them was Ace's daughter, Monique, and his wife, Jeanette, and right next to them was Peter, Gigi, and Ace was up in the casket. You look and you see the four of them together. That was the last time I would ever see our generation's Beatles in the same room at the same time.
Wow. Yeah, that's heavy.
And feeling that was heavy. That was heavy. And I was so fortunate to say goodbye. You know?
Wow. I think that's a great story to end a good podcast on, because that's heavy, man.
Yeah, man, that was fucking tremendously sad but poignant at the same time, you know.
Right.
So, childhood Kiss fan saying bye to the last time we'll see the four of them together in one place at the same time. Horrible thoughts you would never think of, that you never wanted to happen. It's like little kids that are afraid their parents are going to die. You know.
Yeah.
In some cases, a lot of people like me, I would be afraid of my icons, my childhood, you know, friends, and that became friends who became icons who became friends. You know, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I still can't wrap my head around it. Ace fucking Frehley was one of my best friends. You know, sometimes I would have pinch me moments. You know what I'm saying? And but then after a while, it became like, it's just Ace. It's my friend. And then sometimes it would be like, this is fucking Ace. You know, what the fuck? You know, I'd say to Jeff Hernandez, I'd say, that's fucking Ace Frehley. He was like, yeah, he's crazy, ain't he? I said, yeah, he's a crazy friend. You know?
Yep.
So,
Man,
Robby, thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you.
I hope I was a good guest. You know?
Oh, dude.
I hope I was a good guest for you.
Absolutely fantastic, man.
All right, my man.
We'll definitely do this again. So, again, thank you so much.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank
you. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.